Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. This week we're going to be doing Yummy Fur, number 24, one of my very favorite comic books of all time. But before we get into that, I want to show you some of the stuff that can help support the channel if you decide to support us. I produce a comic book, a 12 page, full size, full color comic book every month for Patreon. You can go to Patreon /Alexander Turbin to check out my stuff. And like I said, I do this every month for my patrons for only $2 a month. I also sell them on my website, alexanderturbin.com, and you can get them there as well as my other stuff, including Mutandis and more random access and stuff like that. The random access is up to issue 15, and I'll be sending that out actually this month. And so let's get on to Yummy Fur. Excuse me. I chose Yummy Fur for a couple of reasons. One is because my throat still isn't completely healed, so I'm still feeling the effects of that, and I can't really talk for a long while without coughing and fits. So I got to kind of do one that's a little bit more simple. I say simple, but simple in comics definitely is not bad all the time. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. If you read something simple, graphics wise, story wise, or art wise, whatever, and you feel like you got cheated at the end, then that's bad. I often have come across some manga where I read like 60 pages and I feel like only a person moved across the room or something, and I just felt cheated. But for the most part, if you are seeing simple art, as in low density of line work, I think that the person usually has grown so that each line is representative of exactly what they want, and it's kind of like the cover here. These lines are very, very simple. There's not a lot of depth to them, and there's not a lot of scratching and stuff like that, but they're perfectly cohesive to what he wanted. Of course, Yummy Fur is made by Chester Brown, and this is called The Little Man, and it came out in 1991, and I got this off the well, not the newsstand, out of the my LCS. Excuse me. And I had read a bunch of Ed the Happy Clown and Yummy Fur, and Ed the Happy Clown was really stories about Ed and sometimes other things, and they were just whimsical and weird and grotesque, and that's exactly what Chester Brown does. He does all that weird, grotesque kind of stuff that really I love, and I think a lot of other people love. Yummy Fur kind of turned into his autobiographical accounts, where he would kind of mix some autobiography and as well as some of his other just thoughts and random stuff like that. I'm sure I'll go back and review more books by Chester Brown if it's not Yummy Fur or Ed the Happy Clown or something like that. He also started doing the backup story was a like a religious thing, which is kind of odd, but I'll get to that when we get into it. And so anyway, let's jump into Yummy Fur number 24, The Little Man. It starts out with his letters page where people send him their comments, and I love their comments. Like this first one. Let's read this one. Your stuff really sucks these days, and your attitude about awards and women are for shit. I used to look forward to Yummy Fur. Now I can put my 250 towards A1. He printed that, and enclosed with Ken's letter was a copy of Yummy Fur 23, which had been torn into small pieces. Man, this dude is an idiot. Ken Pantak. I hope you're watching this, Ken Pantak, because you're an idiot. Because all of Yummy Fur is beautiful and engaging, and it's just wonderful art. And anyway, he publishes a bunch of those letters that are kind of negative and derogatory. I feel like he maybe has a complex about his art, or he had a complex about his art, where he was always striving to impress people, but then he probably got to a point where he's like, I've had enough exposure and have enough fans that, fuck it. Sometimes you have to just tell those fans that, if you don't like my stuff, don't buy it. It is what it is, and you can like what you like, and you can not like what you don't like. So whatever. I hope to get to that point. So that's really cool, where you're not feeling like you're a slave to the fans. Um, anyway, let's get into the story. The Little Man. So it's about Chester, and I love the fact that he put a true story. I've been watching Fargo, the TV series, and just like the movie, every beginning of every episode, they write, this is a true story, and all the names have been changed and stuff like that to protect the innocent. And I love that in 1991, 5 years before Fargo, because they did that in the movie as well, he put a true story, even though that this is Yummy Fur and it's going to be messed up. So anyway, it's his elementary school, and here's this teacher, and she's going blah 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 about schoolwork and stuff, and talking about I don't know, mathematics or something. And then you kind of come over to Chester, and he's has this hand in his pocket, and he's fiddling around in his pocket, and he's like, what, this is weird, I can feel this. And then it's his penis. Yep, he can feel through his underwear or his pocket and pull out his penis. So he gets the bright idea to show it to his friend, and he's like, it's my little man, which is hilarious. And anyway, the teacher realizes that Chester's doing something, and she comes over, and he's super embarrassed by this, which anybody in their young adult life would be. She comes over, and she's like, what's that? And she comes over a little bit quicker with her click, click, click. That is one of the beautiful things of Yummy Fur and Chester Brown's comics, is that he can just write something so simple as click, 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 and what's going on. The emotions. Everything that's happening in a whirlwind of just a few words and a few lines of drawing. And so she comes over, and she sees it, and she grabs his little man, his little dick, and she's like, pulls him up to the front of the class, and she's gonna cut it off with these scissors. And he takes off, and his penis extends. So it's like made out of rubber or something. And just like in Ed the Happy Clown, crazy stuff happens. And as he's running, the teacher accidentally stabs the principal in the head with her scissors that she was going to cut his penis off with, and he kind of freaks out and runs off. And and then, oh no, I guess it was another teacher. So then they call the principal, and he gets all wound up, and they have to call the cops because there's a little kid with his penis hanging out with it's a long penis. And the cops are like, it's a code orange emergency from Julius Richards. A code orange, that's a kid running around with his penis hanging out. And then it switches to a kid with a very long penis hanging out. And I love the expressions on their faces. It is Chester Brown to a T. It's the greatest thing ever. So Chester is running from the cops, running from the teachers, the principal. Everybody's chasing around. He can't go outside. They have the doors locked. They have all of the exits blocked. So he goes up to the top of the school, and they're surrounding the building. And so he has his long penis, which is super stretchy, and he starts whipping it around like it's a lasso, and he starts flying off of the roof of the school, and they start shooting at him, even though he's flying like a helicopter, using his penis like a helicopter. And then to stop them from shooting him, he starts to pee, and they're all freaking out. And this is hilarious. A drop hit me. Like that would be the worst thing in the world, to have a little bit of pee on you. But anyway, he finally gets away, and he lands. he grabs a gun. He shoots the principal, and he grabs a cop car and he gets away. And so then you go to after school, and Chester is really talking to his friend about this story, and it's a story that he made up in elementary school. And the friend and he go to his house, and they open the door, and his mother's there, and very strangely, she doesn't want the friend to be around, and she's a little rude about it, which is kind of weird because something like this happened to me in my childhood too, where the parent was actually, me and a friend of mine had gone over to a friend's house, and we were hanging out in his room or whatever, and then his dad barges in, throws the door wide open, and says, "You kids, get out of here now." So me and my friend just kind of look at each other, and he says something like, "Did I stutter? Get out." So we like booked it out of the house, and that was just kind of a crazy incident. But this is kind of what it's like for Chester's mother, although she's not loud and boisterous. She just kind of doesn't want him around. And I don't know if it's issues before or issues later that you find out that Chester's mother has some sort of bipolar or some kind of mental illness, and this is really kind of his way of dealing with it, and kind of telling the audience about what happened. And the final page of the story is just him going into the bathroom and taking a piss, whipping out his little man and taking a piss, and that is the perfect way to end a story. This story is a beautifully done comic and tragedy. It's a comic with tragedy, and it's hilarious and it's sad at the same time, and that's kind of it. Just so many emotions well up in you while you're reading this, and it never goes away, because I remember reading this from 1991 almost exactly. I just read this 15 minutes ago, and it's like I was just reliving a memory, because it is so ingrained in my consciousness, this story, because of how it was told and the way it was done. And I strive in my stories to do something even close to this. So Chester Brown, thank you very much for making this beautiful comic. And so he has a little epilogue where he talks about, he really doesn't say much. He says, like it was true, the beginning where he was in school was true, but the story of the penis was just a made up story. And then later on, the part with his friend was true. So he kind of sets things up in perspective. And so, and then he tells some joke that's not very funny. But anyway, it's a wonderful comic, and I highly recommend it. It's a 10 out of 10. I'll go through maybe some of the other stuff. In the back is a biblical story, which is a little different that he did. It's Matthew 8:18, 8:27. I'm not a biblical person, so I don't really know what that is. But it's a biblical story about Jesus, and yeah, it's pretty cool, even though it's a religious story. And so anyway, Yummy Fur number 24, one of my favorite comics of all time, and I highly recommend getting it. It's just a joy to read and to have. And so if you enjoy this content, please give me a like, and if you're new to the channel, possibly subscribing. And why don't you let me know what you guys think of Yummy Fur and Chester Brown, and let me know if you think he's as fantastic as I do. And anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later.